Oh. Good morning, all. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I see we have Miss Susu on the line and someone else there trying to get their audio. Good morning, good morning. How are you? This morning, we're going to be talking about a very important part of getting used to the lifestyle, creating a lifestyle in our recovery. I say getting used to because we have to get used to the steps that creates a lifestyle. So today we're going to be talking about staying busy. I think I heard one of our participants share that on yesterday. And you see that these steps are an automatic process. We don't necessarily know sometimes that we are operating and creating principles for ourselves, for our life change. Sometimes we just operate in them, but we don't understand that it has to be a consistency because we are operating in a principle that's going to work for our good. So what we're going to do here, we're going to go ahead and jump right in right after we check in with everyone. I'm going to start with Miss Susu. She was our first caller this morning. Miss Susu, good morning. Check in with us. How you doing?
Good morning. Good morning. I feel good this morning. I've had my
Yay.
I've had my early morning exercise, not as much as I usually do, but I got to start. And
That's
I'm doing good. Taking care of a few things, but I'm doing good in anticipation in the class.
excellent. Excellent.
Mhm.
Wow. That's awesome. Thank you so much for chiming in. So much strength and positivity. We can hear your life change. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Let's see. Who else do we have on the line? Go ahead and check in. Okay, they're not able to check in this morning. We're going to go ahead and get right into our lesson. Others will probably be calling in a little late today. But we want to go ahead and get started because, again, I hear from you guys on the line that this life change that's happening in your life, it just kind of automatically connects to next steps, automatically connects to lifestyle changes. It automatically connects to the freedom that everyone was sharing that they're experiencing as a result of just these steps and changing some of the principles by which we've been compulsively and habitually living by. We're breaking free from the routine. We're breaking free from the habits, and we're actually going to live our life and not let it be lived for us. So today, again, we're going to be talking about staying busy. Now, we this is a group session, so we like to hear from everyone, but we know that some people are multitasking right now. So for right now, Miss Susu, it's going to be me and you. So be ready, be ready, be ready, because we are going into our life change. And it starts with the activities that we do today. It starts with what we look forward to today. It starts with what we occupy our time with today. So we're going to be staying busy. So today we're going to be talking about this whole life change situation, because one thing that we understand that relapse doesn't necessarily just occur, like we were saying yesterday when we talked about the drift, how we identified that we don't just boom one day relapse. Somewhere we've drifted away from our principles, we've drifted away from our routines, we've drifted away from those things that help us stay in the life that we're in today. So, one of the things that helps us to stay in the parameters of our new life is changing our lifestyle, changing the things we do so that our lifestyle can be changed. Well, one thing about recovery from any compulsive, habitual, unhealthy, or unwanted behavior, lots of times the behavior has created a lifestyle within itself, whether it's a lifestyle of isolation, whether it's a lifestyle of like-minded people, like-minded in the area of that unwanted behavior. And sometimes we find that we have to move ourselves or even reposition ourselves, and sometimes separate ourselves from those people, those places, those activities, those things that we used to do. So Sometimes it can be lonely and we can isolate. But sometimes we haven't changed. We're still dealing with some of those people that associates with our unhealthy behaviors. So now what can we do about it? What should we do about it? As we're going forth, one thing we want to always remember is to stay busy, because it's one part that we want to separate ourselves from the unhealthy, unwanted behaviors, but the other part is creating a new lifestyle. We don't want to just sit there and like, oh, I can't do that anymore. I can't do that anymore. I'm gonna have to stay in the house. I'm gonna have to, just hold on. I don't have nothing else to do but just pray and hope to God that I don't go back to those behaviors. No, absolutely not. We're trying to now live. We're replacing those behaviors with healthier behaviors. So, what I'm going to be doing today is asking some questions. And these questions are going to help us identify what type of busyness do we need to do in order to create a new lifestyle. So, let's see. What we're going to do today is, for one, I'm changing the lesson. It's the wrong lesson. Here we are, staying busy. And I want to ask you guys, because remember, relapse starts in the mind. If we're not following our process for a change consistently, then what happens, we start contemplating and thinking, triggers become overwhelming, we begin to be moved, or we begin to drift in the area of relapse. So I want to ask you, has free time, when we free and have nothing else to do, which are some pockets in our recovery process, pockets of free time. I'm sorry, one of my pieces of hair is out of place, but we have pockets of free time because we're transitioning from the life that we become accustomed to now into a place of the unknown. We're doing some things, we have some things in place. Yesterday we talked about our recovery plan, things that we need to continue to do, and there's some things we need to avoid. So now we're trying to identify, okay, what can I do? Scheduling is so important. Scheduling helps us to avoid the free time. Scheduling helps us to create a life. Scheduling helps us to stay on track. Scheduling creates space for us to do the things that we need to do. So I want to ask you, have free time ever been a trigger for you to go back or relapse to your unhealthy, unwanted behaviors? Go ahead, unmute your phone and share.
Good morning again. Good morning. Yes, I can say that idle time, or free time, just like it give you time to think about it, or not feel sorry, or not really sorry, but someone come to you, what you wouldn't do. Your mind contemplating, well, I may as well go on help with this. And also, I was gonna say too, is the free time, like I said, you got to occupy yourself. I find that now that I've been in this group, you know I find other things to do, or I may not answer the call, at the time. I answer to their needs. If I'm busy, I can't do it. So, like I say, I'm trying to start me a regimen, a daily regimen. I have some things going already. But like in the morning, I have about an hour or so before my class starts. So I'm trying to occupy that also, so I won't be as free,
Okay.
to do whatever the person, the need call for,
Yeah.
that is unhealthy, like like aiding a bit,
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it. Just as I say, occupy my time. I'm just trying to, like I say, scheduling. I'm trying to make me a schedule, so I won't have time. If I got a little free time and we agree upon that time or something, we do it. If you don't comply, hey, I'm on to my next. So
Right.
that's me. That's me, Stephanie.
Woo-hoo, I love that. Thank you, Miss Susu. That's amazing. Absolutely, especially considering The past enabling, like she says, she's scheduling her time. She's creating a yellow brick road for herself. And did I say that right? She's creating a yellow brick road for herself. And what does that mean? If you saw The Wizard of Oz, you'll find that they had to follow the yellow brick road. So what happens is, good morning, good morning. What happens is we find a path of our own. So that's awesome. For those of you that are just chiming in, we're talking about staying busy. We're talking about occupying that old, occupying the time when we're in the recovery from our old past habits and behaviors and unwanted behaviors, unhealthy habitual behaviors. Sometimes the separation of people, places, and things, activities. Sometimes it puts us in a place where we have a lot of idle time, we have a lot of free time because we're in transition of changing our lives. I'm going from one place now to another place, and that other place is unknown because I'm still building it. I'm still creating it. So what we're talking about is staying busy. Miss Susu just shared so awesomely about how she's scheduling. And this is something that we all want to practice. Schedule your time, because what's happening is we're creating a new lifestyle, one schedule at a time, one activity at a time, one change at a time. When we meet new people, new associates that may become friends, when we identify triggers and repel the old behavior, when we be mindful of our schedule and what we're doing. We talked about drift yesterday, not drifting away from the principles of the recovery schedule, the recovery plan that we have for ourselves. We identify what we do and when we do it that keeps us in this healthier state. So we don't want to drift from that. So now what we're trying to identify is how we're to stay busy. Because if we stay busy with more positive, healthier behaviors, what we'll find is that we'll lead ourselves right into a whole new lifestyle. And you'll look back one day and say, wow, how did my life turn into this wonderful place of control? I'm no longer led by my routines. I'm no longer led by my habits. I'm no longer led by that automatic system that was working against me. But now I have intentionally walked myself into a whole new lifestyle that I've created. So that is amazing. Miss Susu is sharing. So I want to ask the question for those of you that are just chiming in. Has free time ever been a trigger for you to go back to your unwanted, unhealthy behaviors? Go ahead, unmute your phone and share. Free time, free time. Has it ever been a trigger for you to go back? Miss Susu openly talks about her enabling. Some of you talk about your anger. Some of you talk about drug use. Some talks about, we talk about a lot of things on this line. Pornography, promiscuousness, overeating, too much internet, focused mind preoccupied with those unhealthy behaviors that we're trying to break. Have you noticed that when you have some free time, some downtime, do you notice that that time kind of brings back, you're kind of triggered, or it brings back those old behaviors, or rather not it bring it back, but you notice that in that time those old behaviors can occur?
Yes, hi everyone. Sister
Good
Lupe
morning.
here. Forgive me for chiming in late. Just trying to take care of some paperwork for my mediation tomorrow. I know, right? Um, so free time, right? Does it trigger any behaviors, unhealthy behaviors? So I've been out of work almost 4 months, and I've had a lot of free time. So I think that some of the unhealthy behaviors, it could be, I get too comfortable where laziness and overeating, and maybe I want to watch some stuff on TV that is not healthy or stimulating, procrastination, tired for no reason. So when I have too much free time, I tend to kind of like stop taking care of myself. Even since I'm not going anywhere, I don't need do my
Right.
hair or dress up, right? So that right there comes with not feeling um beautiful because I don't got nowhere to go. So when I do pass by a mirror, I'm like, oh wow, I should have probably done my hair or something. So procrastination, I would say, bored, um, and just laziness.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And thank you so much because you put a whole new spin on it. Because the free time, if we have too much downtime, and even thinking about during the safer at home order, during the depth of COVID or the initiation of COVID, with people had a lot of free time because a lot of people were home, and some were home alone, and some were home with their families, and some were just home, and they had a lot of free time, not being able to go anywhere, not be able to do the things that they're normally doing, and it did provoke a lot of lack of self-esteem, a lack of it challenged our esteem because like Sister Lupe said, I don't have anywhere to go, so you may not get up and wash your face or brush your teeth or do your hair that morning. So when we look at ourselves, we don't feel esteemed. Our esteem is challenged. So that free time attacked the esteem of ourselves, our self-esteem, our self-value, our self-worth, all of that in one little package of free time, which can easily trigger other unhealthy behaviors because you're at a low. You don't feel valuable. You don't feel esteemed. So that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Sister Lupe. Thank you. Anyone else? Has free time ever been a trigger for you?
Good morning, Bianca.
Good.
Yeah, free time is mentally. Have too much free time. Sometimes it allows my and run and run and run. And having too much free time is it's not a good thing. So I try to really stay busy,
Okay.
possibly can. I'll take on some other or whatever just to try to keep myself busy.
Mhm.
Uh, Again, for me, it affects my mind.
Okay.
When I have too much free time, then it gives my mind too much time. And some of the things that may come across my mind, oh that bill, and then that bill gonna turn into that other bill, to that other bill, and the other bill gonna turn into that.
It's always a cluster of bills.
Yeah. Before I know it, the day is over, and guess what? Right there, just an example. But yes, I gotta keep my mind busy. Uh, a lot of busy, so that's what I would say.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Bianca. Definitely, that free time, like she says, it starts that anxiety of thinking, that it starts that fear, that panic, that worry. So yeah, free time is a trigger to so many different things. Thank you guys for that. How could you respond to prevent relapse if the trigger occurs again? So let's say in this recovery process that we're on, let's say that you find that free time is, kind of more often than you had planned. You find that maybe this free time thing is popping up a lot more than you're ready to deal with. And it's bringing that low self-esteem. It's bringing me to a place where I'm not doing what I normally doing. It's bringing me to the anxiety of mind. It's bringing me back to my old compulsive behaviors. It's doing all those things. What can I do now? What can we do now? What are some suggestions on this line? What can we do to prevent the relapse in that free time? Please go ahead, unmute your phone and share.
What was that question again? I'm sorry.
What can we do to prevent the relapse of those unwanted behaviors when the trigger of free time is occurring? The Bible tells us to occupy until he comes. He tells us to do something. He tells the women, if you're not married, do the work of the ministry. He always tells us to occupy, do something, because free time, can bring us, as we just stated, into some unhealthy places. So what can we do to prevent the trigger when free time occur? Because free time shall occur, especially in the beginning of our recovery process, separating from people, places, and things. Now we're left to ourselves. We have not yet created that healthier lifestyle. We're creating it. So when that free time occurs, or downtime, or that time when things are just still, what can we do to prevent a relapse?
Sister Lupe here. So I would say back in the day, I had so much free time, and I didn't know even how to work. This was before I even went to prison. I was so used to just being on welfare and cash aid, and being basically the government took care of me, and all I did during my free time was be high all day and drink before noon. It was my routine after I dropped off the kids to school. I'll smoke a blunt, and that was my cleaning time. And then after I clean and I was preparing dinner by noon, um, get everything out of the way in the morning, right? And then
Right.
take the shower. Then I could start drinking and stuff. So I definitely, during my free time, I would drink. So and now I can't do those things, of course, and it's kind of harder to want to even be motivated to do things, and even chores around the house when you're drunk. You really don't want to do none of those things, right? um so I would say, to prevent any triggers of relapse because of the free time, I think this is a time to go to AA meetings, to go to functions, since there you have free time now. Now you could go to their functions. Sometimes they have functions in Vegas, or events, or they have sober dances.
Yes.
Even church, for me, I've always done like church ministry, right? Go to concerts, Christian concerts.
Yeah.
So definitely taking advantage of the free time to free your mind.
Yes.
So from the pressure and everything else. And I wanted to mention this. I'm the type where if I get too much free time, um I just get too unmotivated, and depression starts sinking in, even if nothing's happening in my life. So I'm an I'll always need that, because I think because I have addictive personality where I'm always chasing the dopamine, or stimulation of the brain.
Right.
I chase that. If I accomplish something, it gives me a sense of worth. So if I went going to school, or if I went to this seminar and I met somebody, or I spoke, or any achievement, it helps me. It helps me feel a sense like I'm not worthless. I'm doing something with myself.
Wow. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that, Sister Lupe. Excellent. And you gave so many good, powerful suggestions. Some things that we can do to prevent it is, go to a meeting. Now that you have some free time, let's build a lifestyle of recovery. Go to a meeting. If you don't like the meeting that you went to, go to another one. They have one thing about 12 step, they have meetings worldwide, everywhere. They have meetings. If you go to Hawaii, just look up a 12-step meeting. If you go to Texas, if you go to Santa Fe Springs. They have a meeting everywhere. It's a worldwide program. And one thing about it, you may say, oh, well, I don't do drugs or alcohol. They have all kinds of meetings. They have overeaters meetings. They have people that on pills. When you get addicted to your medication, it's a lot of that going on today. We're in that epidemic. So there's meetings there. There's also enabler meetings. They have spinoff meetings that covers people that enable the addict. You may not be an addict yourself, or you may be an addict, but you find yourself codependent on someone, on someone else, enabling them, making sure that they're happy, that you lose yourself. They have groups for that, also children, adult children of alcoholics, adult children of dysfunctional families. All these things are available, and there's many self-help groups. If you can talk to maybe someone in your medical network, you may find that they can refer to you some other self-help groups. That was an amazing idea. They have 1-800 numbers that you could call that could connect you to some groups, to some places of recovery and help. So that was amazing. Thank you so much, Sister Lupe. One thing we have to realize, the Word of God even tells us we have to occupy. Faith without works is dead. You may say, well, what am I supposed to do? You got to occupy your time. Occupy until he comes. Occupy until that change comes. Occupy until your greater comes. Occupy until your next comes. You have to be found doing something. Thank you so much, Sister Lupe. I love that idea. Anyone else? What else can we do to prevent that trigger? How else can we occupy time to prevent a relapse because of the free time? I'll go to the next question. I want to ask, in your unhealthy behaviors, did you find yourself isolating? Because sometimes isolation is a part of the unhealthy behavior. Sometimes it's a response to the unhealthy behavior. It's the outcome of the unhealthy behavior. Sometimes it is the unhealthy behavior. Now, when you have free time, does it make you feel like you're isolating or that you're isolated? Go ahead, unmute your phone and share and tell me about that.
Well, Sister Lupe, definitely if you have too much free time and you get too comfortable at home, isolation could definitely kick in.
Yes.
To where even having social anxiety kicks in, because you're so used to being at home and just bench watching Netflix or something. You'd rather just eat and be at home. I know people that and that's happened to me, absolutely. And sometimes shame could also take effect, because sometimes we isolate ourselves because we already are premeditating an unhealthy behavior. I know in the past where I did isolated myself because I didn't want to talk to people at church. I didn't want to talk to people in the meetings, because in my mind I was already premeditating that I was gonna get high. Nobody's gonna find out. Right. And nobody needs to know. I'll have people knocking on my door. Yes. And I was so high, sprung out, acting like I'm not there. My car's parked right outside.
Wow. Yes.
So definitely it's shame, and just leave me alone. Let me be high and just let me be. So yeah.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you. Absolutely. That isolation feeling. And it can, like Sister Lupe said, it can produce even other unhealthy behaviors. That's awesome. Who else? Who else? What are we going to do to prevent this behavior, as well as, do we feel when that free time comes, do it associates to isolation? Go ahead and unmute your phone and share.
Yeah, this is Susu again. I myself, I don't feel isolated, like I say, when I think about it, I know that I shouldn't have, but I don't feel isolated though, because someone is always in need, or either I'm always doing something, Uh, but I guess I just don't think about it. Like I say, with the class, I got to do my self-examination. But as far as isolation, I don't feel isolated though. But I don't know. Like I said, something wrong up there, something, but I just don't feel isolated because I'm always going to be try to be occupied and stuff. And another behavior is that free time for me is when that habit come in is eating. So that's why I say, you got to get up and do something or turn your mind on something else. Like I say, if I get occupied with my hair, not my hair, but hair or,
Doing hair.
something, a project or something, that occupies time for me. And I don't think about it. Like I said, I can have my cup of tea there, but if I'm focused on there, I don't even bother that. But it's, as it say, being occupied, do something. And I like the example about what Sister Lupe was saying. And I think I'm going to take her up on that, those classes, that were mentioned, for the enablers, get some more insight on what
Yeah.
to do and how. You won't know until you try a step in to see
Yeah.
what's available, the resources for you. And
Yeah.
that's what this class is doing for me, these classes. Yeah. And that's it.
Oh. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And Miss Susu, I'll help maybe even try to locate some of those classes for you, because this is wonderful. Because when we do healthy things, it branch off to other unhealthy behavior. Excuse me. When we do healthy things, that branches off to other healthy behaviors. Just like when we do unhealthy things, it branches off to other unhealthy behaviors. So absolutely. Thank you for taking Sister Lupe's suggestion, because there's help. There's help. And as we see, sometimes it's just a matter of seeing a different perspective and it change your whole life. So awesome. Breaking those old habits, those old routines, that old cycle. I love it. Anyone else? Does that free time feel like isolation? I'll go to the next question. Does being alone now remind you of that experience? We talked about free time. We talked about how sometimes it can lead you to feeling isolated, because remember, we're changing behaviors from our unhealthy behaviors to new behaviors that are more healthier. But in the transition space, you may experience a lot of loneliness. You may experience a lot of free time. You may experience that low self-esteem. You may experience anger. You may experience and I love how Sister Lupe brought up how sometimes the free time, the energy from the free time depletes you of your energy. Here it is, you haven't been doing anything, you've been Netflix binging, as she said, but all of a sudden you're just tired, you're exhausted. How negative energy even pulls on you. That free time, even though you're not up being productive, moving around, or even just thinking about, on your project. Even if that's not the case, if it's free time that we've allowed to take us into a blah state, what happens is it drains us of productive energy. It drains us. And like she talked about, the dopamine, that's our reward system. That's the thing that we find, things that bring pleasure, feelings of pleasure to the body. Adrenaline, that's our stimulation. If we don't have that stimulation and we don't have any pleasure, we're like, blah, and in that state, we don't feel our best. We don't feel pretty. We don't feel handsome. We don't feel like we're living our best life, because we're not. We're in the confines of our free time. So, with that being said, does that free time kind of remind you, when you experience that free time now, does it remind you of the old feeling of isolations, unproductivity, anxiety, low self-esteem? Does it remind you of those things now? Go ahead, unmute your phone and share. Anyone?
Yes, Sister Lupe here. You know what it does? It does. Now that I've had free time for about 4 months now, I realized that, it's good to have free time, but it should have this exceeded time where, okay, it's time to go back to work or school or start doing something again. I know that back then, like I said, my free time, I was being high every day,
Mhm.
all day. I don't think I knew how to be sober
Okay.
because all I was doing is getting high. When you smoke weed, you get the munchies. So it's
Yes.
high, eating, drinking. So I just wanted to take a nap and just,
Right.
and just living like a wild animal, basically, like doing whatever I wanted, and just relying on that check. So I find myself now I'm relying on my unemployment check and it's not much, it's just enough, so I
Yes.
I realized that I gotta watch not to get too comfortable, and I made a decision that, okay, um next year start looking for work. the
Okay.
beginning the beginning of the year, I understand the holidays are coming, so it's okay to enjoy the rest of the year without a job, but coming next year, it's time to get a job. It's
Yeah.
time to get out of that. Don't stay there too long, because I if I do, I don't think I might get high, but the thoughts might certainly come.
Right.
And we have to, even if we say, oh, I'm never going to do that, if we I know for me, if I start doing the same patterns I used to do, then I could never be too careful.
Yes.
And I just gotta stay like I said, I have to have that self accomplishment to feel that self worth. So
Yes.
definitely I'm ready to begin the year with a new chapter in my life.
Amen. I love that. I love that. I love that. When we have acknowledged that our free time has ran its course. Because like she said, free time can be good depending on what we do in it, but she's intentional in watching its boundary. Okay, I needed this free time to do this, that, and the other. But like she said, okay, it comes to an end. I need to transition over to something else. That's amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You on fire, girl. Change is powerful. Anyone else? We'll move to the next question. So, one thing that we realize is that being in recovery means that we have to let go some people, places, and things. It means that maybe we have to change the way we share or participate in certain activities. So, certain activities are dealt with differently, and some of them are totally abased. Now, in creating a new lifestyle, and you guys are amazing, in creating a new lifestyle, we find that it starts with doing new things one day at a time. I can't just up and say, okay, I have a new lifestyle. I haven't created it yet. I have to create it by the people that I meet. I have to create it by the things that I do, the places that I go. That's how I create my new lifestyle. Because when I go to these places, some places I'll be like, down, never go there again. It was so boring. I didn't like it. Everyone was having fun, but I didn't. But then some place we're gonna go to is like, wow, this is awesome. I'm gonna come here again. It's like a good restaurant. You find a good restaurant, you're like, wow, I didn't know they made baklava like that. I love that. I'm gonna come right back here. So this becomes a part of my new life. This is where I go to have baklava and coffee now, or you go over to a reading. If you like reading, then you go over to a certain library. You meet someone, they have the same interest, and you guys decide, you know what? Can we meet Friday? Because look, I'm writing this essay, and maybe you start meeting that person once a week, once every 2 weeks. You never know what's going to develop from our new activities. So, what have you done lately to have fun? It is very important that we give our dopamine something to measure. If not, the old fun or the old thing that brought you pleasure is going to be the very thing that your brain is going to yearn for. Why? Because it still rates high on the pleasure system. Your dopamine rates pleasure. What I mean by this, dopamine is a neurotransmitter in your brain. Remember, your brain is an organ. It's not your intelligence. It's just an organ, and it functions a certain way. We have neurotransmitters, which are the neurotransmitters. They give us our functioning. So let's say serotonin, it keeps us with the ability to smile, because serotonin, when we don't have enough serotonin, we can fall into depressed states, whether it's feelings of depression, or if it becomes clinical depression. So we find that our dopamine, dopamine, it rates our pleasure. So if you use meth, let's say if you like meeting with friends to go in fellowship, what happens is this may rate 500 on your dopamine. And let's say now you started going out with the bad boy, meeting up with your bad boy or your bad girl, may rate this high on the dopamine. Let's say you start smoking cocaine and the cocaine start rating high. Let's say you start doing methamphetamine, that rates this high. Let's say you start looking at internet porn, that rates this high. Let's say you start looking at internet porn while using methamphetamine, and both of those things go way up here. So what happened is your pleasure is measured by units in your brain system. So now what happens is dopamine, it keeps the measurement, it keeps the measure of the reward system. So when your reward system says, hey, methamphetamine and internet porn, that's the highest, that's 1,500 units of pleasure, well, what happens is you'll start desiring, because the brain has no intelligence. The brain doesn't realize if you do that, you're going to be homeless tomorrow. But what happens is, remember, your brain's job is to bring well-being over the body. So when you're dealing with free time, when you're dealing with triggers, when you're dealing with discomfort and uneasiness, the brain is going to say, hey, reward system, give me something that I can give to the body to desire, to yearn for, that's going to bring wellness to the body. It's a mechanic. Just like if you cut yourself, your brain says, hey, antibodies, go deal with that. Go make sure we don't bleed to death. So it's just taking care of this body. So it's not the intellect, our mindset, our soul is it holds the memory of your experiences that say, I'm not doing that. So let's find out what brings us pleasure. Sometimes the unhealthy stuff brings us cussing somebody out may bring you a temporary dopamine rating, as well as an adrenaline urge and rush. But is it healthy for us? No. So we're modifying those behaviors and we're resetting the brain. So it is very important that you have fun. Give your brain something else to rate while you're resetting your brain, while you're trying to purge itself of the bad behaviors and cycles and routines. Give it something else to replace it. So what are you doing to have fun? Go ahead, unmute your phone and share.
Hi, Lupe again.
Go ahead, girl.
You brought up a good point where I didn't even know that anger could produce dopamine.
Yeah.
And for some, it could become an addiction. Where
Yes.
I noticed with my dad, he operates, he still does, but he he will operate in anger. And I remember that he will laugh, like it will bring him like this joy. It was scary because it was a lot of abuse that went on in our home, verbally and physically. And when he will see us in the floor begging him to stop, he'll have this wicked smile on and this laugh, like he just he it will bring such joy. So I remember that kind of started happening with me, where with my oldest, right? my discipline will become abuse because I will do it while I was angry. And
Oh,
it will bring a high, and I could not control it. And it was satisfaction. And I thought I was evil. I was like, oh my God, I am my father's child, you know?
oh,
But I didn't know that that's what it was doing in my brain. So
right.
so today I don't I don't do that anymore. But however, when finally I let out um my anger, or we say I just spoke my mind, but with an angry tone, and
Mhm.
I feel the same effect, like a release where it's kind of like unleashing the beast, right? Like, all right. And I it just I kind of explain it like being chained up and then finally being released, and you're just like,
Yeah.
and just letting out that just releases so much.
Yes.
And I didn't know that that could also release dopamine. And I did that a lot in life, where I used to, and it started as a child when I used to get bullied. So when I started defending myself, and the only way I did is being angry to the point where it's like, all right, it's time to go, and finally let out everything I was holding in.
Mhm.
It brought a satisfaction because I'm no longer letting that stuff in, holding this stuff in. I let it out, and I let it out, and I don't even care. That's why, not even now when I get angry, I don't care. Don't talk to me, leave me alone, give me my space, because I've let in so much, and
Mhm.
I've been passive for so long. So when I finally do explode, I don't care who it is talking to me, just not right now. And that's how I handle now. But before, I would just start fighting everyone or
Oh,
cussing everybody out. So
oh,
it has changed a lot, but
mhm.
it's still written in my face, and it's still written in my posture, and it's still written the way I deliver it, where I see people like, oh, I never seen that side of you. I'm like, yes, I've been trying so hard not to show it,
Yeah.
but but
Yeah.
when I get pushed and I don't know, I don't, learning how to be assertive.
Right,
Some
right,
people can't even take that. They anything. Even when I try to be assertive with some people or have boundaries, they
right.
will take that offensive. So learning how myself and what I like and what I want to allow, what I don't want to allow,
Mhm.
and being misunderstood,
Yeah.
that right there also gets me upset, because I will love to be understood, or at least accept that we don't understand, but let's respect that. I don't
Right.
understand why you have all these boundaries, and I don't understand why you have so much freedom.
Mm.
However, let's respect each other's space. So definitely, I you brought that up, and I was like, wow, that's what it is, because the monster comes out, and I'm like, and it
Yeah.
feels good, but then of course I end up regretting.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. I'm so glad that you identified that. That's amazing. That's what we're trying to do, is try to find out what makes us tick, because it's like these unhealthy behaviors aren't necessarily things that we want to do, but it's like it's here, and we don't understand sometimes that it's not so much here. It's not in my heart to do, it's in my brain functioning to do. That's how come we have to, when we obtain our healing, we want to be compassionate with others, because they're going through the same thing, that they don't understand what's going on with them. Sometimes life change is hard, and I love how Sister Lupe talked about how before I just go off, I start fighting, I cuss you out, but now I have some self control. You might just see it in my face. I'm working on that, but I'm nowhere from where I used to be. The passiveness brought out the anger at some point. And like she said, sometimes a lot of people go from passive to aggressive, and then they learn how to come in the middle with being assertive. So I love that. Thank you, Sister Lupe. Thank you for that. Anyone else? I want to ask again, What have you done lately to have fun? What are you feeding your brain? What kind of fun are you feeding your brain to give your dopamine something to rate that becomes higher? Because again, if we don't, it's going to trigger the old behaviors. It's going to release the functioning to do the old things, because there's nothing else that brings pleasure. I have to create a new life for myself. I have to create new happiness. I have to create new joys. So what are we doing to create this new lifestyle? What have you done lately to have fun? Go ahead, unmute your phone and share.
Yes, excuse my background. I'll be quick.
No problem.
But I've started going places, taking time out for me to accept, offers, because some of my kids, my grands, things, they wanted to take me. I ain't ready for the cruise just yet, though, but I'm making a step. I went to the camp, I'm gone more than just overnight, it's applying myself, just getting out, you know, little by little, because I really don't care for crowds too much or nothing, but you never know what, you might desire. I might. So
Yeah.
I'm just taking steps to just explore a little bit, just to physically move out instead of in the four walls of the house and the church, of
Yeah.
family. But I'm trying to see the world a little bit. So
All
I'm making steps
right.
to travel a little bit.
You go, Miss Susu. You do your
Mhm.
thing, girl. And I like that what she talked about being a little risque and meaning to explore. Like she said, to explore. I said risque. She said explore, because you don't know what you like until you try something. Breaking the old behavior, resetting this brain. I love that. Thank you, Miss Susu. Anybody else? What have you done lately to have fun?
Bianca, I'll have to Susu getting out this house.
Yes.
House, um, experience some things, experiencing things that may be a little scary, some things that may be like, ooh, I don't taking the opportunity to even try it, just to try and to see it, if I don't never try, then I'll never know.
You'll never know.
Don't never get out there, then I don't know if I can really. So it's really, like I said, just getting out this house, something I always wanted to do. But then, then limitations come. You know what? Maybe I missed that season of my life. Maybe I can't. I find out that there are still some things that I can do. So with full advantage of that, and I'm doing a little more traveling. I said, getting me out of these four walls here and the four, because those two places, those, I have that mapped out. I know every turn in my house,
Right.
church. I know where the chairs sit. I know all that. Now comfortable.
Right.
It's hard when certain things, because I'm a person, I don't really get down with all that all of the spontaneous stuff. Yeah. I don't like all that spontaneous. To adjust, and to try to the best of my ability. So yeah, I would definitely say get out a little more, talk to more people than just the ones that I'm so used to. So yeah, that would be the thing that I would be doing.
Hey, now I love that. Getting out of your usual, getting out of your common, because what you have is what you have. But when we put some effort into our life change to get out, do something different, meet some different people, talk to someone that has a different perspective, we'll find that we'll grow and we'll stretch, and we never know. We may even find that we actually like it there. That's excellent. Thank you for that. Anybody else? What have you done lately to have fun?
Sister Lupe here for the 50th time.
That's okay. I love it.
I really enjoyed myself this like weekend when we went, going to the mountains, just getting out of the city, out of the traffic, the noise. Um, to me, as soon as I got there, it was like it just made some type of switch in my brain where,
Wow.
my brain automatically felt more calm, more
Wow.
joyful, at peace. I really enjoyed it, and I think that kind of sent a message to where I should, this is something that I like to do. Therefore, it's something that I would like to do more oftentimes. And they say find something, a hobby, or find something you enjoy to do, right?
Yes.
um and I think that this is one of the things that I love the outdoors. I love the mountains, the trees, and
Yes.
so it's definitely something that I would like to continue to do. um as soon as I fix my car, it got a engine light when I was coming back. So um
Okay.
it comes with, it also comes with its, I mean, like my car, for instance, but and the little mishaps that had occurred, but at the overall, it was an experience that I would love to do again. The
Yes.
outdoors is definitely something that I enjoy to do. So definitely, I look forward to doing that again.
Awesome. Awesome. She went camping and I love that. She said it felt like a switch happened in my brain. That's what we're talking about. We're learning how to live our best self, not just according to pencil and paper, what we think is living our best self, but finding out what's the optimum, what is the way to live the optimum life for me? What is the best for me? It's just like if I'm going to make a cake, should I use artificial lemon or should I use real lemon? Should I use lemon flavor? Find out what's the optimum way. In my car, sometimes I'll be like, I'm gonna get the cheap oil because that's all I can afford right now today. And I put that cheap oil and I realize, or that cheap gas, and I realize my car doesn't work at its best, at its optimum performance. But when I give it what it needs, then I'm like, oh, I didn't even know it can feel like this. This is a smooth ride. Same with ourselves. If we don't stretch outside of ourself and get a little risque, meaning being willing, like Miss Susu said, to explore, then we're not going to ever find our best self. And I want to share also, and I don't know which side, but there's right brain people and left brain people. And I don't know how that occurs looking at the Zoom call, but some people function greater from the right side of their brain and some people function greater from the left side of their brain. So some people you may find are left side or right sided people, and what that means, some people that are they're more they're more comfortable, or they have more aspiration or well feeling in nature. They appreciate music. Their appreciation is in areas of life and other arenas, where music, art, things like that. Appreciate the mountains and nature. And then some people are more of the other side of the brain, which is more business, more rush, go, more make that money, more rush, I got to do this and do this now, more stress. So it depends on what side the brain, because sometimes we're trying to function in a high stress society when we're really our brains really work from the other side, where you're really that person that appreciates life, nature, art, music, things like that. So like I say, I see people sometimes they live in the mountains and it's like, oh, how can they live there? And they're wondering, and they look at us in the city, oh, how can they live there? So, find that right side. You may find that you know, you want to move away to a quieter place, or you may want to find yourself somewhere that's like that. You know, sometimes I find myself wanting to move out, you know, to maybe like in Redlands, Fontana, you know, somewhere where it's a little bit more calm. Maybe in my elder years, I'm becoming more of, or more of the side of the brain that functions with nature, that's, you know, just want to function and without the hustle and bustle. So like I said, finding out how do I live my best self is finding out who I am first. So I love that. Thank you, Sister Lupe. Who else? Who, what have you done lately to have some fun? Anyone? I like how Miss Bianca said, you know, some things we may have outgrown, meaning our time may have passed, but that doesn't mean it's passed on everything. You know, this weekend I went played paintball with our kids, which was also playing against some other kids and adults. So it was kids and adults on both teams, things you do for kids. But I went out, we had our face mask on and everything, and you know, I'm running myself out there. And and it's like a war field for those of you that has never gone paintballing. So they have these little barracks set up, these little blockades where you can stand behind and block and shoot, you know. And I got hit in the head right here by one of those paintballs. So I took the chance. I explored something different. Ain't no way in the world I would have went out there just on my own accord. But what I said, I wanted to explore something different. You know, I wanted to play with the kids. You know, I wanted to be able, because I love watching the kids play. So I said, I want to play with the kids. So we went out there as a team. Will I do it again? Probably not. I still bear the mark. It's still very tender. But guess what? I did it. That's all we got to do is do it, because we'll find out if we survive it. We'll find out that it's something that we like, something we want to do again, or hey, it's something I tried. Don't think I'll do it again. But guess what? I occupied my time in a healthy, productive, exploratory way. I broke the cycle of old, unhealthy behaviors just by doing something different. Anyone else before we go to the next question?
Um, what I found out also is it brings about a change mentally also.
Mhm.
You know, being in a place where it's just the norm.
Okay.
Yes. And you know, it just go like this, dot, 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 dot. That's the way it, you know,
Oh,
365 days of a year. And sometimes we take on a whole lot of the pressure of just being who you are, and the pressure of getting to where you, a lot of pressure and everything. But I found out, you know, during the time that I was travels, um, I found out, you know, I was able to release
wow.
stress and that build up, that I
Yes.
know if I in the house, um 99.9 had that same pressure on me or whatever. But I was
Mhm.
breathe a little bit,
Yes.
and you know, see a enjoy a few things and kind of like relax my mind.
Mhm.
When I came back, the stuff wasn't going to be there because it was there. I left it there.
Right.
It'll
Right.
be there when I got back. But just the idea to be able to go and just kind of get
Yes.
that second win and be able to come back and focus or refocus. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you. I love that. Love that. Learning how to leave some things there and do something different. Get some, learn how to recover through situations. I love that. Getting out and experiencing something. Because one thing about it, we serve a God that's more than able. And one of my experiences this weekend was worshiping to a song. You know how sometimes you get used to hearing your own music that you adjusted to that's played at your church, or the music that you play in your house. You know, you get adjusted to worshiping to that music. Well, most of the songs that were sung in my weekend experience were songs that I didn't know. But guess what? At first I was reading the overhead and making sure I knew the words and this, that, and the other. And I thought about it. I say, girl, let go. Just let go. Most of the songs that I've learned in life, I haven't learned them by reading them. I learned them by singing it, by repetitive listening. And there was some songs that once I just closed my eyes and just allow the worship to take over, the words began to come. But even greater, the worship began to come. And there was one song that talked about just making room for God. Sometimes we don't make room because we're stuck in our regimen. We're stuck in our routines. So now we're going to open ourselves up by way of these principles that we talk about. We're going to open ourselves up because now we're making room for God to come in to bless us, not only to bless us, but to expand us, to enlarge our territory, enlarge our being, enlarge our means. So I want to ask you today, now that you've identified you're having fun, you're doing something with this free time, you're not letting the free time work you, but you're working it. I want to ask you, with this change of behavior, we're creating lifestyle change. How have you reconnected or built new activities and people into your life? What are you doing? Like I hear Miss Susu say, you know, hey, I think I am going to try one of those meetings. What is it that you can do that's going to enlarge you, that's going to build you, that's going to continue to build you into this new lifestyle? Not staying in place and hoping that life changes for us, you know, not continuing to go back to the old behaviors, but coming to a place where I'm intentionally making the steps that's going to create a better lifestyle in me. What are some of the things that you're going to do to connect to your great life, or to a better lifestyle? Go ahead, unmute your phone and share.
Sister Lupe here. I think I'm going to take more hikes, more walks. You know, I live in Pico, so there's a lot of hills, and there's a nice
Okay.
there's a nice park here a mile away from my home where it's very big, and it has a pond with ducks, and
Oh,
so it's beautiful. And then we have a few hiking trails around here. So I think that I'm definitely gonna look into that. I noticed when I did go to the mountains this weekend, I saw the lake around there. I think it's Crescent Lake, and it has a water slide. So
wow.
from my house, it's like an hour. It's probably an hour and some change. It's not as far where we went. So
Okay.
it's not a lot of driving. So I think I will take another drive over there, and this
Wow.
time maybe check out the lake or see what other functions, call up there and see what they're doing around the holidays, or what's their next event, and just stay connected with them and see what's going on.
Wow. I love that. A whole new life. She found something she liked. And now look, I can call and be a part of that community. I can take on the mountains near me and the parks and utilize them for the same thing. Now that I've identified that portion of me that I love I love nature, and I love hiking, and I love that. So now I'm going to connect to a whole nother community. So that's wonderful. Oh my God, that's beautiful. Anyone else?
And can I say one more thing? I
Sure,
know I'm
please.
talking a lot. I'm sorry.
No, you're not talking enough. Go right ahead.
You know, when I did when I climbed that wall, I did not even know I had the strength for that.
Ooh.
So definitely challenge myself, because I've been trying to climb these mountains, spiritually, mentally. And I took it like that. I need to climb this wall. If I could climb this wall, I could climb any mountain. So I took it as a challenge myself to see what can I do, because sometimes, you're older, you don't work out as much.
Yeah.
You don't think you could hang with the younger crowds or those that are athletic. And it was not an easy task, but it wasn't hard either. It just took some work.
Wow.
And when I was up there, I felt like I accomplished something. So
Yes.
it just pushed me to a whole new limit that I didn't even know. So I enjoy that, to push yourself to see what you could, and I appreciate that you went ping pong. I would have never thought you would sign up. You were the only adult that signed up from our crowd. I did sign up, but I thought I was going to be later than you, so I didn't even look into it. By then I was with the baby and whatever he wanted to do. But I would have been right there too. I'm sorry I missed it, but when I heard the testimonies that, oh, I got shot here, I'm like, okay, maybe it's a good thing that I didn't play, because it would probably activate my anger and I would have just started shooting everybody. Kids and all, everybody getting shot in the face everywhere. So I kind of glad I missed out on that, but that was a challenge that you took on that I actually admire.
Oh Lord, that was beautiful. That was funny. But I tell you, God knows what we can take and what we can't. So, but I love that sharing how you took on that rock climbing and you didn't think that you can do it. You didn't know if you could do it or not, but you took the challenge, you explored it, and you got to the top. And oh my God, just the victory that you identify, that you have, and the feeling that you have. And you're right, we can do anything that we give effort to, that we give faith to. We can do anything. We have a power within us that the world that don't know Christ does not have. So you can do anything in Christ. You can do anything that you want. We have to learn that these mountains are in our life, but guess what? They help us also naturally, because now it gives us more confidence. It gives us more trust in our God. It gives us more of that adrenaline and the dopamine. Now I want to go back. Now I want to try a double wall. I want to try, so it builds in us. These little things create a lifestyle. If we just continue to explore, guys, continue. What else? What can we do to connect to new lifestyles, to new fun, new achievements? What can we do to connect into the new? What else can we do?
For me, I'm gonna be a little more sociable.
Yes. Excellent.
I consider myself sociable, but I'm more I guess
You're
I would
more
be.
what?
I lean more to the one. I guess that wouldn't be sociable over there. Definition. I'm sociable because those that I talk to,
Okay.
being more sociable. You know what I found out about being simple, and people will say, I've got them to say how simple. I really look over my life and I really look at me. I'm not as simple as I am. I'm very complex, difficult, or whatever. So I'm gonna change that before I am, because sometimes when I do think about it, or he said I be saying it, be like, girl, you is not simple. You got people pulling their hair out and trying to comply and all that. You are,
Oh
but
Lord.
I would say be a little bit more sociable. Guidelines. I'm not gonna be that just out every or anything like that. But giving people an opportunity, because I know sometimes me my face is like they say I have a mean face.
Mm.
It's just really bad though. One of my kids was telling me how they these three little letters that they have and what it represents when you look mean. So it's like bad. I was like, wow. I'm gonna try to fix that face. I'm gonna try to.
Okay, okay.
Face been like that for so many, 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 many years. So sometimes when they think, oh, she mean, or maybe even stuff, or but really I'm not. Really, I'm not that type of person. Try to be. I'm gonna try to be just a little bit more. Take a little step at a time, because I can't go out there too fast.
Yes.
I would say.
Awesome. Thank you, Bianca. The word of God tells us to if we want a friend, to show ourselves friendly. And like you said, since I'm stepping into this place of being more sociable, then maybe I need to change my face. And that's what I'm talking about. We know what we want, but we don't know all the time what we need to get there. And I like how she listened to her kids and she got some advice from them. And so now she understands maybe the look on my face needs to change. Maybe that repels people. Maybe that's what causes people to have an opinion about me. And then I'm not being social on top of that. They may feel some kind of way. But guess what? She's not coming out for them, but for her. But she do understand, if I'm going to be social, I want to socialize with people. So I want to present myself as friendly, so that's what I can attract. I love that. You guys are amazing. We're going to read our final thought for the day. We're going to talk about dealing with fear, if you may. We have about 4 minutes, and I'm gonna read this last thought. But I love all of you guys. Sharon and Lupe, you rock, baby. You led us on with so much suggestion, so much self-discovery and identification that we all can take a look at and glean from. That's the power of group dynamics, because you're not just getting it from me. Yes, I talk a lot, but I just want to connect the fruit of what each of you are saying so others may learn, because sometimes we can hear, but we don't extract. And I just want to give that fruit and put it on the table so we all can sup together and build and grow. But our last thought for today is dealing with fear. And it's about challenges in life. So some of us suffer from a free floating anxiety that is like a general fear, while others have specific fears that causes distress. Sometimes the specific fears are easier to face because they can at least be identified. Most of us dread the other kind, a sort of general apprehension that things are not well or that something very bad is about to happen. It is reasonable to have some fear when facing trouble or risk, or what we're doing now, walking into life change. It's reasonable to have some fear, but it's unreasonable, however, to let fear keep us from acting in our own best interest. A review of the past may show that many of us did that while we were in our unhealthy behaviors and brought even more calamity upon ourselves. Whatever the fear, the answer is always the same. We must apply our principles from the Word of God, the principles that we learn on this line, those things that we find that are beneficial to us. We must apply our principles to the problem. So when fear comes, I need to apply my principles. I like how the word talks about, I'm going to cast down anything, whether it's an imagination, a thought, anything that's going to pose itself as a blockage between what I know. It's going to keep me from the obedience from what I know of the word of God. I got to cast it down, and I got to stay in readiness. Let me continue to read. I'm sorry. Whatever the fear, the answer is always the same. We must apply our principles to the problem. Take any reasonable action and then place the outcome in God's hands. Quit trying to control the outcome, because some of those outcomes are uncomfortable to our right now, but they're leading us to a better place. They're leading us, they're expanding us, they're enlarging us. But sometimes when it's not in our circumference of things, we get agitated. Lord, please change it, make it happen this way. No, let's go with God's outcome. Again, I'm sorry, but take any reasonable action and then place the outcome in God's hand. No person can do more than this. This will not bring permanent victory over fear, although it will, however, give us confidence in the word as a tool for dealing with fears that arise in the future. So, just for today, I may have to deal with fear today, just might, but I will accept it as a part of the human condition. I know that I have great spiritual resources to deal with any fear that might arise, and this gives me confidence and reassurance. I love you guys. Continue in your road of life change. You're going to have some challenges. You're going to have some apprehensions. You may even have some straight up fear. Remember, God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. So let's utilize his word, which is the evidence-based therapy, and let's just continue to move forward and trust him for the outcome. So let's be willing to try something different. Stay busy. That idle mind may bring you back into those old behaviors. So let's stay busy. Let's continue to occupy until he comes. I love you guys. You guys are amazing. And I will see you later. We're going to do this again, and we're going to keep doing it until we see life get better. God bless you guys. Live free.